All right, this is the video of all of the different coil techniques. So there's 5 coil techniques. There's coil, which is the regular one, buttons, vertical coil, flattened coil with or without texture, and spirals. So I'm going to show you each one of those, and how you use them is going to be up to you and how you combine them on your piece. But in general, what's going to happen is you're going to have these different coil techniques either on the perimeter getting taller. You can also have some of the techniques kind of go down on the side of your vessel as well. Okay, so I want you to be really creative now. All right, so we'll start with, let's start with spiral. So most of these techniques, because they are coil techniques, you actually need to roll a coil. So we know that a coil is a snake of clay or a worm of clay, okay? So this is a coil here. So when you do spirals, you kind of roll the coils a little bit thinner. I'm actually cut this one in half because I'm going to show you a couple different things. So spirals literally are, they're spiraled up on themselves like little snails, okay? So you can do spirals like this. You can take this little end and smooth it in. You can tap these so that they become more square if you want a square shaped spiral. Spirals can also be doubles, so you can spiral both ends like this, like a mustache. Or you can flip this over so they're like that. And then what you can do with these things is you can attach them to your project, like the perimeter of your project. So these could come up here like that. Be kind of cool. So if I want to attach those, I need to do slip and score. So I would score here. I would score where I wanted it to be on my vessel. And then I would add some slip on one of the two. Okay, then maybe I want this one here. So if I want to attach this one here, it's actually going to connect to this other spiral. So I need to not only score on the very bottom edges, but I need to score on the sides where the two connect. So those are spirals. Buttons, just take some clay, take a little bit off, roll it in your hand. This is a button. So buttons can be different sizes. You can flatten them out if you want them more flat. Buttons can be used to sort of fill in areas, so I could make a bunch of these. Now I'm not scoring these down yet because I'm just kind of testing some things out, but before I could, you know, if I decide that this is where I want them and I want a whole bunch of buttons like along this perimeter or along this edge here, I would definitely need to slip and score them. You do not want buttons that are like the size of a golf ball. That is too big, okay? So maybe I make a few more of these. So if I wanted to attach these here, I would score on the bottom edge, score where it's going to connect. It's also going to score on the side to the next one, so I need to make sure I score on the sides, and then add some slip. And I do the next one, okay? So vertical coil, make a coil, sensing a theme. Okay, vertical coil goes up and down. So I'm going to just build this on the table. So you have to just decide how tall you want it. And then it's back and forth like this. And then you can decide, you know, do you want to keep them separated like that? Do you want to, you know, have these kind of stand up along the edge on your piece? Do you want them to be closer together? If you want them closer together, You got to push them together like this. You'll have to slip and score kind of in between these things. You can attach this so it's like really tall. This is the trickiest technique to get these to stand because you'll have to work really hard on making sure that they're stable and standing. You also can take these and they can bend. You can put them on an angle. They can come down on the side of the vessel and then be on an angle. Like there's all sorts of things that you can do. I don't want to limit you or to think that you're limited. So use these techniques in different ways. You can like spread these out. So be creative in how you use them, okay? And then I do flattened coil first. So flattened coil is similar to how we did the slab. So you're gonna roll kind of a bigger coil this time instead of something that's really skinny. And you're gonna use your canvas and your rolling pin to flatten it out a little bit. Okay, so I've got that. I flattened it. So now I can add texture to this if I want. You can, draw into these if you want to. You can use the different texture plates. So I could take, any of these different texture things that we used for the very first step. Press them in. And then what you do with this is kind of up to you. There's all sorts of things that you can do. You can cut these into pieces. I could make this like a wall that kind of comes up over what I've already started. I can cut this into different shapes. They don't have to be, they don't have to be squares. They can be, you can cut this kind of more organic shapes. And I could attach this along the top of my piece. Attach these in different ways. You can, cut these thinner. You can bend them like archways. You could attach those. Lots of things that you can do with them. Okay, but obviously every single thing that I'm showing you would need to be slipped and scored if you decided that that's how you wanted to keep it. All right, and then the last one is just regular coil. So regular coil, it's a great technique because you can kind of even out areas. You could almost draw with the regular coil, like three-dimensional drawing. It's like a 3D printer, but with your hands. Okay, maybe not that cool, but so I've got a regular coil. Regular coil you can wrap around and around and around, to build up a wall a little bit taller. You can also take the regular coil and you can kind of go up and over things that you've already done. You can loop back. You can do all sorts of really interesting things with regular coil. And I have a bunch of examples if you want to see some of these techniques. I have a bunch kind of next to where the grade shelves are if you would like to see those. I'll get some of them out by my laptop too. Okay? So obviously yours are going to be 1,000 times better than what I just showed you, but those are the different coil techniques. Be really clean and neat with the clay. Use great craftsmanship and be very creative, okay? You never know what you're going to get until you try.